Welcome. Once again, we invite you to reflect upon the gospel from today's liturgy and pray and see what God might be saying to us. Today's the feast of Mary Magdalene, and the gospel is from St. John. On the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb early in the morning while it was still dark, and saw the stone removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved, and told them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb. We don't know where they put him." Mary stayed outside the tomb weeping, and as she wept, she bent over the tomb and saw two angels in white sitting there, one at the head and one at the feet where the body of Jesus had been. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she said to them, "They have taken my Lord, and I don't know where they laid him." When she said this, she turned around and saw Jesus there, but did not know it was Jesus. And Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" She thought it was the gardener and said to him, "Sir, if you carried him away, tell me where you laid him, and I will take care of him." And Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Stop holding on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father, but go to my brothers and tell them, I'm going to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and then reported what he told her. The Gospel of the Lord. It seems to me, if my memory holds, that when I was in high school, I guess, it was important that everyone was my friend. Where are you going? Out. With whom? My friends. Who are your friends? Everybody. Everybody except the adult world, my peers. But friendship was important, and I look back and say, those were friends. Some of them indeed lasted a lifetime, but most move on. Some were really just acquaintances. Some were friends for an occasion or an event. Guys I played ball with, hung out with, that kind of friend. But the ones who perdure, the relationships that are really part of the life journey, that have roots, they become special. Good friends, best friends, we say, parents, family members, brothers, sisters, hopefully, children, good friends that are with you through the journey. I'm thinking of one friend who I went to grade school with, and there are still 2 or 3 left, I might add. But the one I'm thinking of passed away about 4 years ago. And we were friends for over 70 years, a long time. And still, that relationship is so important to me, maybe more now than I realized during the 70-plus years. And there's the unique quality that the closer, the more important the relationship, there is that temptation to take it for granted most time, unless I stop and reflect those moments where I perhaps am celebrating an important event and I realize how important so-and-so is. But more often than not, it's when that relationship becomes threatened, perhaps by death. I stop and realize how important that person was. For me, unfortunately, too often, it's after the fact, when I look back. And then I have all sorts of reactions. Gratitude, regret. I wish I had shown my appreciation more. And yet, if you speak to the other, most probably they were fine with the way I responded. But I would have made a better point of it by saying or doing things to show my appreciation, taking for granted, being hesitant, not knowing what to do. And whatever I do never seems to be enough to communicate how important that person is. This leads me to Mary Magdalene. She was present in Jesus' life. She was his friend. She loved him. We don't have a lot of a recount of the relationship. There's no chapter and verse description, but her name appears frequently, and she's always there. She's the one who doesn't abandon him among the disciples. She didn't run away. She was at the foot of the cross. What was she doing there? Nothing. Being a friend. We have Jesus dying abandoned, but at least on that occasion, with Mary Magdalene and his mother, he was not abandoned. They were there, loving him, and doing nothing except that. Here she is in the garden, apparently having buried him the day before. And she's helpless again. There's nothing she can do. The stone is rolled back. The tomb is empty. And then there's a moment where she sees whom she thinks is the gardener and says, "Where have you taken him? Let me go to him. Show me so I can be his friend even now." And then he says, "Mary." And immediately she knew who he was. And then the next line, I think, has somewhat of a bit of humor in that Jesus says, "Don't hold me down. I haven't gone to the Father yet. I have to go so I can come back," so to speak. But it also indicates that once he mentioned her name, it resonated so deeply that all of her hesitation fell away, and she embraced him, full of their relationship, full of trust, full of acceptance. What a beautiful moment. She did it with confidence. And then he says, "But not now. I have things to do. But so do you, Mary, my friend. I want you to go to my disciples and tell them what you have heard and seen and experienced." And she does that. She goes and gives witness. She goes and says something to the apostles. He's alive. I've seen him. And they believed her and they come running to see it for themselves. What did Mary Magdalene do? She witnessed. She witnessed to the love, to the friendship that was hers, that was unique, that could be summed up by Jesus by simply using her name. That was special. We've been through the journey so far together. And I want you to go and tell people by the way you live what it is you've experienced. Did she do great things? Was she an orator? Was she a college professor able to lecture? Was she a theologian who could express great thoughts? I doubt it. She just told them, I had this friend, and he told me that he was God, and I believe him. He told me that I am loved, and so are you, and I believed him. She honored the friendship. She honored the gift of his presence. Who does that sound like? I think it sounds like my baptism, actually. Go, baptize all in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Go witness what you profess to believe, that you're temples of God. So is everyone. That nothing can change that he calls me by name in baptism, like he did Mary. That we focus on Peter's rejection and denial of Jesus 3 times. We don't even look at Mary's faithfulness and just being there. We want to be, if we are concerned at all, to be apostles and do something great. And all Jesus asks is to be my friend and tell others how you've experienced my friendship in your life. You and I can do that. You, only the way you can because of your uniqueness, and the same with me. It almost doesn't matter what we do, but it does matter that we witness by the way we live, by the way we love, that we reflect what we've experienced, that we share the friendship that God has given us in his Son Jesus in our baptism, that we do it today with others, that we live with dignity within ourselves because we've been blessed and called not just children of God, but his friend. We're called, each of us, by name. We hope that you continue to pray for one another, that you continue to be safe, and that you enjoy the realization in faith that God is with you today. God bless.